Live from the Score Atlanta television studios in North Atlanta, this is Georgia High School Sports Daily, powered by IBEW Local 613.
All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. Got a lot of story for you guys today. We'll be talking to Appalachian new head coach Kevin Saunders. Also bring on Matt Schmitz of Dunwoody High School to talk to him about recent hiring there as well. We'll get into it with some baseball rankings, and we'll conclude the show with Hayden's high school hits. So it should be a lot of fun, a lot in store for today's show. But Craig, obviously, it is the McDonald's All-American game today, I should say, tonight at 9 p.m. Haley Swain and obviously Caleb will play in that. But how excited are you for just that game in general?
Yeah, well, I think what's cool about this one, I don't know if this will ever happen again, 2 All-Americans, not only in the boys and girls game, not only from the state of Georgia, but the same school, and they just won a state title. So this is very special for Holy Innocents. We had their coaches on the show. They're going to be there in Brooklyn. That will be another thing. But just to see how they stack up against the other talent. We know how good they are. We've seen them all season long, but now we get to see them against some of the players from around the country that we haven't seen yet. But just to see them out there together representing the same school coming off great senior seasons, that's why tonight's is a little special.
100%. And then obviously we'll talk about baseball records here in a little bit, but just what's your biggest headline from this past week? Obviously, I know while sweeping Walton, but what was the other headlines across the classifications that kind of stood out to you?
Well, I think this week, in terms of headlines, I'd say with baseball, this is the first week when I was doing the rankings where I felt more aggressive with it. We'll get into it later, but I mean, I feel like I've seen enough where there were teams that, like LaGrange, they had a really tough week. I dropped them significantly. Grayson is starting to rise in a bunch of polls, and I know we're going to talk a little bit about Hebron Christian. I think it's just impressive what Grayson's been able to do late in the season with baseball. They made the finals last year. No one expected it. They had an 0-4 start this year. Now they're right back into it. I think that's a big deal. And then obviously some big-time lacrosse. But this is approaching spring break, so it will be a downtime, but also more of these non-region games coming up this week.
100%. So be a lot of fun. We can't wait. We'll have obviously the full analysis here and so much more, so we can't wait for that. All right, we'll start with headline one. Mount Perrin hired Mike Walker as the new athletic director. I'll go ahead and read the statement from the school. We are pleased to announce that MPCS has selected Mike Walker to serve as director of athletics beginning July 1st, 2025. The search committee chose Mr. Walker at the conclusion of an extensive national search that included talented and experienced administrators from K-12, collegiate, and professional athletic programs across the country. He brings to the job more than 20 years of experience in athletic leadership, most recently at Second Baptist School in Houston, Texas. While there, Coach Walker led a team of more than 70 coaches, completed major facility upgrades, won 26 district championships, 8 state championships, and placed more than 100 student athletes in collegiate athletic programs, more than half of whom went on to play for Division I schools. So great statement there, Craig. You obviously did a story on this. What more can you say?
Yeah, I think with Mike Walker, he has the experience not only running an athletic program, but helping upgrade the facilities. He almost is bringing like a small college level experience to Mount Perrin. I want to give Mitch Jordan a lot of credit what he's done there. He started this football program from scratch, I believe, in like 2008. He ended up leading them to that state title. We've seen some other private schools have rises similar to that. I think with like Hebron Christian this last year, going from a school that typically wasn't that good to a state champion. Mitch Jordan was behind all that. He oversaw 2 big-time facility upgrades when he was there, the Catherine Steele Sewell Stadium and then the Stephen Werner Athletic Complex. So that helped build Mount Perrin up. And that's important because they have won the last 2 Directors' Cups in Class A. The Directors' Cup goes to who has the best or most successful athletic program. They calculate all the sports, boys and girls. And so that's that's elite company. That's Walton, usually in 6 or 7A, Marist, Westminster's, North Oconee, I think, won it for the first time a couple years back, 2 years back. So Mount Perrin has back-to-back Directors' Cups. They've had the stadium, the renovations, and now you bring in Mike Walker, who has that exact same experience, and he will be included in the final phases of the Knox Athletic Performance Center that's being built. Another great facility. and he's also going to be involved in the hiring of their next head football coach to replace Matt Eli. So I feel like this partnership is really important with the vetting process with him. He has a very similar experience as Mitch Jordan, and then Mitch Jordan, of course, is going to be going on to Darlington, his alma mater, to build them up.
There you have it. All right, great news, great story there. Let's go to scoretl.com to get the latest there. All right, Craig, I'll let you take headlines too.
All right, Alatoona Tennis wins its first girls region title since 2016. They did it with a lot of comebacks. So Atlanta won this one on Friday, the Region 7 Class 4A championship. The Bucks earned the win thanks to a second set comeback by Riley McGee. McGee won her first set 6-0, but went down 1-4 in set 2. She rallied back, tying it at 4-4, eventually winning 8-6. Alatoona also got winning contributions from their first doubles team of Fatima Rodriguez and Avery Bland. They swept, and then second doubles team of Emma Faclaris and Lauren Jaquith. They won 6-0, 6-1. The Buccaneers beat Cartersville 3-2 in the semifinals. They swept Cass in that first round, and they had a comeback by Meredith Diller, who came back down from 1-3 in the third set of her singles match to win that one in 3 sets. She lost the first set 6-4, bounced back to win 6-3, and then built a 5-1 lead before winning 6-4. So we know how talented Class 4A is on the tennis side. North Dakota is very good. You're going to have Westminster, a lot of other teams, but Alatoona winning the region title on the girls' side. That's a tough region, so they will definitely be a team to watch.
Certainly going forward. All right, our next headline, Pope, they grow their win streak to 12 straight with a perfect region start. Woodstock 3-3. John Stutzer went a combined 4 of 6 with 3 extra base hits to help the Greyhounds extend their Region 6-6A win streak to 23 games with a doubleheader sweep. Stutzer went 2 for 3 in Game 1 with a double and a stolen base, and went 2 for 3 in Game 2 with a double and RBI triple. Tanner Moreau, he went 1 for 4 with the RBI and a stolen base in Game 1, and 3 for 5 in Game 2 with a double and RBI. Matt Levinson, he went 2 for 3 in Game 1 and recorded a save and added a 1-run double in Game 2. Drew Abney went 2 for 2 in Game 2 with a 1-run double and 1-run triple. Maddox Soroya, he added a 1-run triple as well. Luke Winbush went 2 for 5 with a triple in Game 2, and Ethan Garrett got a Game 1 win with 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run, and 11 strikeouts.
Yeah, and real quick on this. So this is Class 5A baseball. Houston County and Pope have history. They played last year, I believe, in the semifinals. Both of them are outstanding right now. I think they actually have each won 13 straight games. Then you look at Loganville, how talented they are. Loganville beat Parkview this last week 13-1. Parkview had only 4 losses. Every single one was decided by 1 run. So I see those 3 teams at the top of 5A right now playing better than anyone: Pope, Houston County, and Loganville.
100%. All right, I'll get our next headline. So you had a commitment from Hebron Christian. Destin Matthews is an infielder. He committed to Greensboro College. So far, he's having a great season. He's hitting .275 with a home run, a triple, and 3 doubles. Also has 7 RBIs, 12 runs, 10 walks, and 7 stolen bases this season for Hebron Christian. He's been doing his thing in the private classification, and he is now taking his talents to Greensboro College.
Yes, and he was a member of that football team also, had a touchdown last season, got some carries and some receptions, and got that state title.
Yes, he did, 100%. All right, our final headline, stories up on scoretl.com, but Brooks Goodman, Blessed Trinity quarterback, he wins accuracy challenge at Elite 11 camp. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks there, as you guys can see. I mean, going up against some of the best, right? Faison Brandon, who received the Elite 11 national invite, scored with a 23. Garrison Cantrell from Decula had a 23 as well. Landon Duckworth, who is trending currently right now to Ole Miss, he also finished with 23. Gannon Jones with 23 as well. Travis Burgess, the Grayson State champion, had 22. Sammy Dunn also had 22. And he had Darnell Kelly and Brody McWhorter with a score of 21. So I'd say very impressive. He's thrown for over 4,000 yards over the course of his career for Brooks Goodman. Over 40 touchdowns so far this past year with 62% completion percentage. He's continued to improve his craft. Often gets overlooked. We look at Blessed Trinity when they have Amonte Pitts and Dawson Jacobs and obviously all the great players they have, but he's been phenomenal. So the stories on scoretl.com, but I just wanted to give him a highlight for magnificent performance in the Elite 11.
Yeah, and obviously those scores are really close. Lots of great names on there. My prediction for Brooks next year, Brooks Goodman, he's a multi-year starter for Blessed Trinity. He's had a great run. Their receiving core had a lot of injuries last year. If you followed them, they came very close to making it to the 4A state finals, lost a tough game to North Oconee. I think BT is going to start this season hotter than they have the last 2 seasons. The coaching staff's been there a while. They've started these young guys. Brooks Goodman, he knows what he's doing. He's a leader out there on the field. They've got some exciting pieces around him, young running back, versatile pieces. BT is going to be very tough to beat early on this season as teams are figuring themselves out.
And then another note to your point, Craig, also about Brooks. He's improved their win percentage every single game or every single year he's been at the helm. Finished first year that he was at the helm, first round of playoffs, second year, second round of playoffs, and this past year in the semis lost to North Oconee. So, I mean, a proven winning, great leadership skills as well on and off the field. Yeah,
and I mean, there's some games where, I mean, he's out there just – the passing game is going off. They're doing their thing. He's as good as it gets. Other games, BT, they'll go more to the run a little bit. He'll be patient. He knows it's not going to be dependent on him. But I think once they get this hot start this upcoming season, because they've had big performances. I think they upset Calhoun 2 years ago, that first game of the season. We know how good Calhoun is now. I just think they're going to be able to build that momentum early on.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to be obviously a team to follow. Can't wait to see what they're able to do this year. Obviously, a great organization as well. Craig, as we wrap up this segment, any big games this week we should watch out for baseball? As we wrap up.
We'll get to it on the other side.
There you have it. All right, guys, coming up.
My baseball notes.
All right, coming up after the break, we'll talk to Appalachia head coach Kevin Saunders. So don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial.
Great teams are committed, focused on the details, and work hard to be their best. From practice to games, right down to their gear. Your field is a critical part of the game that allows your athletes to showcase their athletic abilities. Sports Turf is committed to bringing your team innovative sports surfaces with unparalleled performance. You bring the vision. Our team brings it to life.
This makes my dad proud. He went through his whole career as an employee. Now I'm the employer, something he didn't achieve.
We are signatory to IBEW and do IBEW people wherever we go that we feel like they are faster and better than any of our competition.
The advantages of being a signatory contractor is you're trained employees. You have unlimited manpower. It allows me to bid on jobs that I ordinarily would not go after.
We celebrate the athletes, the buzzer beaters, the record breakers, the wins. Now, it's time to celebrate the people behind it all. The advice givers, the community shapers, the game changers, the life changers. It's time to celebrate our coaches. Join all of us at BSN Sports and show your coach some love by sharing their story with #ThankYouCoach.
Man, you know how to do this? Man, I don't even know. I was flipping burgers last week.
Violation, unsportsmanlike conduct, impersonating a craftsman.
Skilled trade unions are well-trained career pros, not part-timers. Construction is a rewarding and lucrative career with the advancement potential, but you have to do it the right way with the right training. Learn how you can be a pro. Find your career at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
Georgia High School Sports Daily is brought to you by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 613. Electrify your career.
All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Day. Remember, you can catch the show on the Atlanta News First app, also on the CBS Sports Local streaming app, Zeem, and on the Peachtree Sports Network via YouTube TV. Without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome on our guest, Kevin Saunders from Appalachia. What's going on, Coach?
Not much, just trying to get everything going. It's a mile a minute right now.
Yeah, I already know it, Coach. It's a pleasure to have you on. And I just want to talk a little bit about your background. I mean, you've been in Virginia, you've been in Tennessee, you've been in Georgia, over 40 years of coaching experience. Just kind of talk about a little bit of your journey and just being able to get to this point and where you're at in your life.
Well, it's been a journey, and I've been fortunate to have been pretty successful. I've had really good players and really good assistants along the way, and it's made a great career for me. I started really young. I was the head coach at the age of 24 and never looked back. And it's been great life, and it's continuing. I'm really excited about this opportunity here. I think there's a sleeping giant here at Appalachia, and I truly believe we can tap into this and build something this community can be proud of.
Certainly, Coach. And then speaking of that, obviously you talked about kind of building up from the ground. Just what is your approach? Obviously, this community has dealt with devastation, adversity. Just what's kind of your message to them, the parents, the kids, as you kind of come in and start a new regime?
Well, I just had a team meeting with them, and we talked about you just trying to get some normalcy to them. I think that's the main thing. Kids are really resilient, and that's one of the things that can be said about any situation. And there's nothing in the book about coaching or teaching or education that prepares you for the tragedy that happened here. It's just happened, and there's no preparing for it really to how to deal with it. And I think the school has done a tremendous job dealing with it, and the administration and the kids and the community really has done a good job with it. I think I got coaches that have interviewed here to come be a part of this program, and they've really feel good about wanting to contribute to this football program. And it's a great place to be. It really is.
For sure, Coach. And my last question before I throw it to Craig, just kind of what is your plan in terms of just like the spring goes, the workouts? Obviously, if you guys do have a spring game or any spring practice, kind of how does this rest of the spring look going into the summer for this program?
Well, we're a little behind the eight ball, so trying to get the coaches hired and here and stuff. It's a work in progress, and it happens to be one of the best athletic directors in the state, and Ralph Neely. So that's a big help. So what I'm doing is just trying to get it started, and the process started. It started today in the weight room. We're going to do spring practice, but we're not going to play a spring game. We'll probably do an inter squad and go from there. That's the main thing. Is now we're just trying to get them to the spring, to the start of practice in May, and then to the start of the summer. Once they get that going and we get a routine down, it's really going to help.
And then, Coach, you were talking about Appalachia could be a sleeping giant. Obviously, there's tons of support there. People want to see them do well. You've led other turnaround campaigns in the past. We know that. We've talked about them. Pretty impressive what you did at Pebblebrook, Gilmore more recently. Do you see anything unique about Appalachia, or how does it compare to these other turnaround campaigns?
Well, to turn around the program, you got to have community support and administration support, and they have both here, and it's a really good thing. It starts at the top with the superintendent and in the community and the administration, and then the parents. We had a meet and greet and had a really good turnout, and they're really into what's going on with the football program. They're involved with what their kids are doing. We just had a team meeting today and had over 100 kids show up for the meeting. They're excited. They want to be a part of something, that's different for them. And that's what we're trying to get done. I think that, the thing that's good here is they got so many kids that want to be a part of playing. That, at some of the places I took over, the first year we didn't have, Pebblebrook, we had like 63 kids my first year, and then the next year we had over 100. So right now they're wanting to come out now, and that's what is making this really a great opportunity.
And then back to the comparison, do you feel like these last couple turnaround campaigns you attempted to get going, do you feel like at Appalachia with this time there's been a little more excitement just about wanting that success immediately?
There's no doubt they want to do it. They want to win yesterday, and we talk about that in our meetings, is about winning and about what it takes to be a champion and how to go about doing it. And it's not a one-time thing; it's an all-time thing. And we have to change that mindset. And those kids are really receptive to it, and they're hungry and they work hard. So we just got to get them to work a little better than what they've done in the past and just build upon that and try to make this a chance for them to really win some games, which I think they can. The athletes are here. It's just getting them in the right spot and getting our scheme put in. And really, they got to make a big commitment to the weight program. I think you can't have any success in football unless you're the most violent team, the most physical team, and the strongest team. And if you do those three things, you're going to have a chance to win. And that's what we got to build upon in the weight room with our kids.
Yeah, and you've talked about how important that aspect is. I think Adam Wharton was a guy that you actually coached in Virginia. He followed you to Georgia when you first got here, was a strength coach, I think, at Gilmer. What's the strength program looking like at Appalachia, and what is that hiring process for you, just trying to fill the assistants? Obviously, we know what happened last year with the tragedy involving their coaching staff.
Well, there's some turnover, and it's rightfully so. There, Coach Hancock. First off, they should all be admired for finishing the season and putting a team out there to where the kids still played, and they should be admired for that. The coaches and the kids and the administration, because that is really hard to do, and I'm really admire what they did, and to have a program finish the year after something as tragic as that, my hat's off to Coach Hancock and his staff and the kids. What we're trying to do is with the weight program is a lot of the coaches here have decided to move on. A lot of them are not coaching anymore. I think some of them just feel like it's time to get a breath of fresh air and move on to something else. And I can't blame them. That's something that's hard on them personally, and I have no answers to, or really a whole lot what I can say to make it better for them. That's up to the individual. But the kids are, like I said, are the resilient ones. They're in the weight room hungry and ready to go. So my thing is I got to get a good strength coach in here. I've done it before. When Adam played for me, I was a strength coach there. He became one of the top. He runs the weight room now at Cherokee with Grant Myers, and he's run them at Pickens, and he ran them for me at Gilmer, and he knows how important the weight room is. And I got to get a guy just like that. I think I've got one zeroed in. And I think if we get him hired, it's going to be a big plus to our football program and to the whole school. And it's just a matter of hopefully getting that done this week. We go on break next week. I start officially that Monday we get back. So I'll be in the building all the time. I'm here today and just trying to get stuff done and meet with the kids so they can start seeing me. And, they're great kids here. They're very open, and they haven't even asked what offense or defense what we're running. They just want to, hey, coach, I want to play, I want to get out there, I want to go. So those are the good things.
Certainly, Coach. Well, I believe that's all the time that we have. I want to say thanks so much for coming on, obviously, and talking about the great Appalachia program. Can't wait to see what you do. We know you're obviously great at turnaround programs and getting them going, Coach. So good luck in the future. Can't wait to have you on again.
Well, it's great to be here, and go Cats.
There you go. Go Cats. All right, guys. Coming up after the break, we will get into the latest with our baseball rankings. Craig Sager and talking a little bit about what happened this past week. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break.
Georgia High School Sports Daily is presented by GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com. Transform your future today. And by Smart Local 85. Sheet metal is a smart move.
All right, welcome back. So now it's time to get into the latest with our baseball rankings. Craig, a big shakes up this week. I seen your 3A, and 3A is all over the place, but a lot happened, major shakes up. But let's talk 6A. And real quick before we bring up the rankings, just how elite do you think, and if you can quantify how elite this Etowah team is? Because Walton is an elite program as well. The fact they swept them, I think, says a lot about how good Etowah is, number 4 team nationally. What's your thoughts on them?
Yeah, it's their pitching. We had the coach on. He's talking about some of the young guys that were coming off Tommy John surgery that are back now. These are guys that are just getting into the rotation. We haven't even seen them fully return. They've got incredible starting pitching. They have guys that are coming back healthy again to bolster them even more. The defense is lights out. We've seen Walton putting up probably 7-8 runs against quality opponents. These games, they opened the series, the 2-1 victory on the road, and then in a short turnaround, beat them in the doubleheader sweep on Thursday to get a 3-0 sweep. That's going to, unless something crazy happens, that's going to give Etowah that home field in the playoffs. Walton will likely be the number 2. They've got to keep winning out, though. You got North Paulding, another great team. But I just think defensively, and then the depth you see with their pitching, it's incredible. They have that number 1 spot locked down.
Yeah, 100% do. Now, let's go ahead and pull up our rankings. And as you said, number 1 spot is locked down for Etowah. Number 2 is North Gwinnett. I know they moved up for you, Craig. 13-game winning streak right now. You got Lowndes and Parkview. And you slid Walton from 2 to 5. So talk a little about that.
Yes, so, this week was really wild. I guess I was just in the mood to really shake things up. North Gwinnett was a great team last year. I actually had them in that number 2, number 3 spot the entire time. They lost early in the playoffs, so I've been holding back a little bit with them. But you look at this last week, Walton was number 2. They get swept by Etowah. They dropped. Lowndes, I actually moved them up 1 spot. Parkview was at number 3. Parkview lost to Loganville 13-1. We mentioned all their other losses were 1-run games. That was a big one. They dropped 1 spot. And then North Gwinnett, they just keep winning. Their only loss was to Decula. Decula's got some great talent, so that's not a bad loss at all. They moved up. Buford's been on a roll. North Paulding actually they didn't split a series with Etowah, but they won 1 of 3. So they're the only team to beat Etowah. They moved up 1 spot to number 7. East Coweta had a great sweep against Carrollton. That's probably going to lock them up for the region. We talked about how red hot Grayson's been. And then Tift County, they had a huge series win over Richmond Hill. When you look at that Region 1 with Lowndes, Colquitt, Valdosta, Tift County, Richmond Hill. Tift County's emerged as that potential number 2 seed out of that region. That's going to be a very tough place to play in the playoffs.
Yes, it will. All right, let's go to 5A. At the top is Houston County, followed by Pope, who got, obviously, I think, a bump up for you, Craig. Talked about them, obviously, in our headlines. They've been looking good. Loganville, as well, has been very impressive, followed by Dunwoody and Villarica.
Yeah, Pope has elite pitching, but also some of the best offense we've seen. They're just lighting up in the region. A perfect 12-0 start. Houston County, same deal, haven't been beaten. Dunwoody, they dropped 1 spot. They had not lost since their first game, 19-game win streak, but they just lost to Woodward Academy. However, that was in a 3-game series, and they beat Woodward 2-1, so I only dropped them 1 spot. But you see Loganville moving up to 3 with that win over Parkview. I think those 3 teams are the best in my opinion. Dunwoody's right behind them, very talented team. And then Lassiter got swept by River Ridge. That's why you see them actually dropping all the way from number 6 to number 10. River Ridge is a very talented team. And then Dunwoody, just to show how good Dunwoody is, Dunwoody was able to beat River Ridge, I think 7-2 earlier this season. So you see what River Ridge was able to do against Lassiter, and then Dunwoody had that win against them. So that's another very talented team.
There you have it. All right, let's go to Class 4A at the top. No surprise there. Blessed Trinity, they're one of the best teams in the country. At number 1, you have Allatoona, who got a bump up this week, correct, to number 2 from number 4. St. Pius, Ware County, and North Oconee.
Yeah, Allatoona, their pitching's been unbelievable. We saw their no-hitters, the 17 strikeouts, all sorts of record-breaking performances, the big wins over Cartersville in the region. They moved up to number 2 this week. You got St. Pius up to number 3, a team that beat Dunwoody in that opener. Ware County jumped from 6 to number 4. North Oconee slid a little bit to number 5. Still didn't want to bump them out of the top 5. Their state championship contender. Ola is new to the poll this week. They replaced Stars Mill after Stars Mill lost some region games. Kell is still hanging on after they got swept by, I believe, Altoona recently, had some losses to BT, and then you see Wayne County moving up to number 8.
All right, let's go to Class 3A. Craig, I'm going to let you take this away. I know Harlem is number 1 for you, but a whole bunch of movement here. Just talk about what happened this week.
Yeah, LaGrange, the team that had a rough week. I believe they got swept by Troop, so LaGrange dropped all the way out. I had to make some new room with teams that hadn't been in it before. Pickens moved up to number 3 from number 5. You got Peach County at number 4. Oconee County moved back up to number 5 from number 7. You got Dawson County at number 9. West Lawrence is new to the poll. They replaced LaGrange. It's kind of an experimental week. I just want to give them a chance, see if LaGrange can work their way back into it.
There you have it. All right, let's go to Class 2A at the top. Morgan County, Rockmart. Franklin County got a nice bump up, Craig, this week. So what more can you say about that?
Yeah, Franklin County's second week in a row, they have climbed significantly. They had that win over Prince Avenue Christian. I mean, huge win in region play, and then another solid week. So they moved up to number 3. Pierce County's been tremendous. They're at number 4 still. Cook from number 7 to number 5 moved up. Redan, a very talented team, I think can make a run to the quarterfinals, semis, before they square off against Morgan and Rockmart. They're up to number 6. They keep winning, getting it done. Ringgold moved up to number 7 this week, a team that's rising in all sorts of different polls. You got Appleton County at number 8. That's right, yeah. Appleton County number 8, and then Stevens County, East Jackson at 9 and 10. No new teams in that class.
There you have it. All right, let's go to Class A Division 1. At the top, you got Gordon Lee, followed by Jeff Davis, Model, Social Circle, and Bates County. Real quick, Craig, Model suffered their first loss. Any concern there? I know it was here recently. Do you feel good about them being in the top 3?
Not at all, but it was the way they responded. They were the first team to get 20 wins this season. They were 20-0. Finally lost, but they bounced back well. So they haven't been number 1. They've been at number 3, so they didn't really move from that. But certainly a 20-1 start, not bad at all. Gordon Lee, number 1. Jeff Davis, both those teams, I think they've only lost 1 game. Social Circles at 19-1, I believe. They're at number 4. Banks County moved up to number 5 this week. Worth County, I think they moved up 3 spots to number 6, and you got Washington County. I accidentally put 2 counties, my bad, guys, and number 10.
All right, let's go to Class A Division 2. Obviously, Lanier County, but I was looking at your rankings, Craig. You feel really good about 1, 2, and 4. So talk a little bit about that. Lanier County, Irwin County, and Baconton Charter.
Yeah, well, Baconton Charter is in a separate region. So in Region 2, you got Lanier County at 1, Charlton County at 3, Irwin County at 4. I believe as of today, all of those teams are 13-2 in their region, so you have a dead tie. The good thing for Lanier County, they've already played Irwin County and beat them. Irwin County and Charlton, so 3 and 4, they have a big collision coming up. But Lanier County is pretty much the team that controls its own destiny at this point. But 3 teams from the same region in the top 4, that's a big deal. It's going to be very a tight race, and they all identical region records. Baconton Charter, only 1 loss so far this season. You got Crawford County moving up to number 7, and then a new team this week is Wilcox County jumping in at number 8, replacing Sly County.
All right, finally, let's go to Class A through 3A private. So Prince Avenue Christian, no surprises at the top. I do want to ask you, Craig, as you go through your rankings, just what's your thoughts on North Cobb Christian? We've seen that big loss earlier in the year, obviously in that Southeastern Baseball Classic to Prince Ave. Just what's your thoughts on them at number 5?
Yeah, I mean, they've had such success in, like, I think Class 2A the last few seasons. This is going to be a little different for them. I feel like Prince Avenue Christian is playing a little better. Some of these teams at the top, but in Prince Avenue, we saw what happened that head-to-head in the Southeast tournament. They dominated that matchup. I think North Cobb Christian still is figuring things out. They've got to finish this rest of the season strong, though, because this will be the power ratings. They do not want to be behind in the region standings and getting a high seed.
We certainly do not. All right, guys, that's going to conclude our baseball rankings. We'll have more updates, obviously, next week. Great action coming up this week in baseball. Don't go anywhere. We're going to have an exclusive interview with Dunwoody head coach Matt Smith.
We celebrate the athletes, the buzzer beaters, the record breakers, the wins. Now, it's time to celebrate the people behind it all. The advice givers, the community shapers, the game changers, the life changers. It's time to celebrate our coaches. Join all of us at BSN Sports and show your coach some love by sharing their story with #ThankYouCoach.
Dang, where you get this car?
You need to join the union.
The union?
Absolutely. You can get 10 of these.
Union construction workers earn the highest wages with the best benefits and the most protection in the construction industry. Find your career in construction. Go to GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com and start your future today.
A journeyman with Local 85, when you turn out, you can be hitting six figures.
Hey, I have your back, you have my back. We're gonna do this together. We're one for all for one.
College just wasn't for me. Let's look into actual career jobs that wouldn't take college, where I wouldn't, lose money and all that. Instead of losing a lot more money at the end, why not make money and make more money at the end?
What happens after you graduate? Will you go to the next level? Will people have your back in the heat of the battle? Will you still train like a champion in pursuit of greatness? You will when you become an IBEW electrician. Join our team. Visit IBEW613.org.
All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. We got an exciting interview for you guys. We're going to welcome on the new Dunwoody head coach, Mike Smith. What's going on, Coach? How's everything going?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Yes, sir. Certainly, Coach. So
you hear me?
I just want to ask a little bit about just the team this year. Obviously, you guys have great players throughout your history. Just how excited are you for the team and being able to implement everything for the school this year?
Yeah, I'm really getting pumped up about this. We lost a lot of good players from last year's team, but we're ready to replace those guys with no doubt. We got a bunch of young guys that are hungry. We return a lot up front, which when you're returning people up front, you're at a good place to start. So I'm just getting excited to lead these young men, take the next step in Dunwoody football. And we're hitting the ground running, so we'll see where it takes us.
For sure, Coach. And then I want to ask, are you still going to work with the offense with how you did this past year? Obviously, they set a program record for the most yardage per game in school history. Just are you still going to have your hands on the offense?
Yeah. That's something that's something I'm never going to give up. It's what I love. It's what gets my blood boiling. I think I'm pretty good at it. So, we're going to stay rolling what we're doing offensively. We're looking to hire some real good assistants on that side of the ball to kind of take over a run game coordinator title and a pass game coordinator title, and, really kind of take those things off my plate, from a practice standpoint, kind of more than anything, so I can be involved in all aspects of the field. But yeah, I'm going to be always going to be, running our offense and dealing with our quarterback. So
for sure. And then I want to ask you about two of your great playmakers that you had this past year, Coach. Obviously, Porter Allison and Danny Bowden. Bowden is committed to UNLV, but obviously your receiver, he ended up being DeKalb County's all-time leading receiver. Just what do they mean to this team and what they were able to accomplish, in their careers with the Wildcats?
Yeah, I kind of hit in on them a little bit earlier about some of the great players we have to replace, and surely these two are the ones I was talking about, are some of the ones. And man, more than anything, they're just great people. They're great young men. I'm going to miss them dearly. I already do miss them. Their spring senior year. They're kind of like most seniors, so I don't get to see them as much as I have. But then from obviously a playmaking standpoint, those guys played a lot of football, made a lot of plays. And really what they did is they just showed everyone how to come to work every day. It wasn't an accident that they put up the numbers that they did. It was joint effort, our quarterback, our line, of course, everyone included. But it was what they were doing from pretty much the spring of their sophomore year on that made those two kids, really special. And like I said, we got some big shoes to fill, but we got some kids that are hungry, ready to fill those roles, and I can't wait to see what they do.
And then speaking of that, Coach, we can't wait to see you in the Corkell Dave Hunter Classic this year. So my thoughts to you, question, like you've coached in this game, obviously last year, you've coached in it before, but I mean, this is a big stage, Coach. You guys are going to get a really good program at St. Pius. You guys are going to start us off that morning at 10 a.m. at Mercedes-Benz Stadium where the bright lights are. Just what's your thoughts on playing in this matchup?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's as you can imagine, there's buzz going through our team about this game. Just for the kids, first of all. I mean, what an opportunity. Playing on the biggest stage, not just in Mercedes-Benz, but I mean, they're going to be the only team on, right? The whole state. All eyes are going to be on us. So, that's an opportunity I want the kids to just, take pride in. The fact that Dunwoody football has gotten to this point to where we are asked to do this. I mean, what an honor as a program, what an opportunity for our kids. And also playing Pius, I mean, they're right around the corner. We played them my first 2 years here in the region and split with them. And, I would love this to be, a game that we play on a regular basis. I mean, I think it's great for our kids. Our kids know each other. I love little rivalries, especially ones that are close. So, I mean, that part almost excites me as much as, the Bends and all that is renewing that rivalry. But, like I said, 1 o'clock on Saturday, if we don't come out on top, it's going to be the same feelings as it would for any other loss. But we're excited, man. I appreciate you bringing that up. We're really excited.
Certainly. I think this is going to be the debut for St. Pius and Corkell. So obviously they'll be up for that matchup. It's going to be a rivalry. I want to ask you about the passing game coordinator and run game coordinator. Is that something that you picked up from being in the college ranks on how that can be a successful way to divvy up the offense?
Yeah, well, it's just because, look at myself in the mirror. I want to delegate to strong people. And I think if you give people responsibilities, especially in coaching, you're going to attract the ones that want to progress. And so I don't want those to just be titles per se. I think on staffs now, sometimes titles are just handed for like a resume. I'm trying to hire two real good coaches, to bring something to the table. You know what I mean? There's always room to improve. I mean, I think we're going to be a little more balanced than we have, the past 2 years as far as a run-pass ratio. So just getting people that can add things, to our offense. I mean, yeah, we've been successful in the past couple of years, but we want to take it another step higher. And, I think I've been around the block a lot of places. I mean, pretty much all up and down I-75. And the biggest thing that makes the difference in Georgia football is coaching, just hands down. I mean, everywhere there's good coaching, and so we need to match that. I mean, if we're going to compete with, good coaching, we need to hire a great staff. Our defensive staff is pretty much locked up. We got, from what we've done last year. So the continuity there is there. So kind of like I said, if I'm going to have more of an eye on all facets of the program, I want to hire people that can kind of take some off my plate. And it's like I said, mostly in a practice organization standpoint. Someone can handle the inside run period. Someone might be able to handle 7-on-7. And the other side piece of that is we've got two young quarterbacks that I got to get ready to play. I mean, we're replacing. We talked about those receivers, but our trigger man was special. You know what I mean? He just special kid that we're replacing. So, where the past couple of years I've been able to, maybe step away and concentrate on other parts of the group because I trusted him to. I mean, like I said, he was just a special kid. And this year, I'm going to have to be right in the ear of our quarterbacks every snap. You know what I mean? Everything. I'm going to have to be in the ear, little things to stress. So, that's kind of like reason 1A where I need to hire, two good guys with me to kind of help me out.
And then you talked about two young quarterbacks. I mean, how heated is that competition going to be? And do you see yourself potentially being able to run a 2-quarterback offense?
I mean, I'd like to stay away from that, if I can. I experienced some of that in college. And, I just think quarterback is such a rhythm thing, especially what we do. We're no huddle, we're always moving. So communication and just is key at that position. But we got two talented kids, a freshman and a sophomore rising. Our sophomore is Jack Corderero. Um, just a winner, man. He's just a winner. He's tough. He's smart. He wants to be great. He's really becoming a leader in the weight room. And then we have a freshman quarterback coming up, Liam Whitehurst, who, talented kid, but just like every, talented kid wants to be good again and, just needs to make strides as his body matures. So I'm excited about those two. You know what I mean? I really am. You asked about the competition, and we met the Monday after Thanksgiving, and I sat them down. I said, "Boys, you two are competing as of now." And other thing I wanted to express to them is, they don't have to. They're replacing a special guy, but they don't have to be him day one. You know what I mean? But they better work like he did. Because that kid, Matt Pierce, he was the hardest worker on our team by far, and those two kids in a leadership role can at least match that aspect of them from day one, and they've done it. Like I said, it's just about growing up. Getting comfortable, and making strides. And I'm excited this summer to see them compete.
Then talk a little bit about the defensive side of the ball, what you expect this season.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to, I think the one thing that, I bring, as much as anything as a coach is just intensity, fire, you know what I mean? I love to compete. Our defense, we were young last year and battled some injuries, which I know, every team can say that. So it's not an excuse, but we've got a lot returning on defense. And, I just want us to play fast. I want us to play physical. I want people to know they're in for a battle when they play us. I want to be fun to watch. You know what I mean? As an offense coordinator, I want to be able to, obviously the head coach, but in charge of the offense, I want to be able to, watch our defense fly around on Friday nights and smile and have fun watching them play. And again, man, we've got these kids are hungry. Our young kids are hungry. I think that's going to carry over to our defense. And we got some talent coming up. And so just seeing them mature, seeing how our defense grows, is another thing we're looking forward to this spring.
100%. Well, Coach, that's all the time we have for today. I want to say thank you so much for coming on, talking about your great Dunwoody Wildcats. We'll have to wrap it here, Coach, but we'd love to have you on again soon.
All right, for sure, guys. Thanks for having me anytime.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. There's Coach Schmidt
right,
coming right after the break. We will have on Hayden for his high school hits and talk the latest articles that he's working on, so don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Day. We now have on our guest, Hayden Gilbert, talked to us a little bit about what he's been working on. A really good article on ScoreTL.com talked about Drew Charter and the depth that they have this season. They could be primed for a run. So what more can you say on that, Hayden?
Well, when you look at Drew Charter, both boys and girls, they're both on the rise. They've both been really good. I guess it's hard to say Drew Charter's boys have been on the rise. They're only 3 years removed from the state finals appearance. They made the quarterfinals last year. But this year, to me, it just feels a little different. You look at their two top scorers. I think they have 34 goals combined. That's the most in 2A between two players. They're both top 7 in goals. And when you really look at both of them, it's a great 1-2 punch. But then you go below that, it's like you have 3 more players that have more than 6 goals. It's just one of those teams where it feels like they're a complete team. It's not just one guy at the top or 2 guys at the top.
100%, yeah. So they've got a lot of depth, obviously, in that 11-man lineup. So how far do you think they can go, if you had to say?
I mean, 2A boys is kind of interesting. It's another one of those classifications that's gotten rid of a bunch of private schools. Mm-hmm. And I think they're a team that could make a really deep run, maybe even compete for a title. I mean, they've been really good the last 3 years. I think 2 years ago they had a little bit of a down year by the standard set over the last 3, but as I said, they're only 3 years removed from a state finals appearance, and I think they have kind of that culture to possibly win a championship.
100%.
Yeah, and you said, I think last year they lost to Toombs County, so I'm not even sure what classification that was, but without the private schools and then in Class 2A, how hard has it been to kind of justify how good are they?
It's really hard because I'll go with boys and girls for them. Them and Kip Atlanta have really good records, but when you really look at the teams that they play, it's hard to say because I think their loss comes to like Paideia or somebody that you're like, that's a really good soccer program. And then you look at their wins, you're like, they're dominating wins. Like it may be 10-0, 10-2, but they're not against great programs. But for me, if you can consistently do that week in and week out, eventually I'm just going to sit there and say you are a really good soccer team.
Certainly. And you mentioned a little bit of some baseball insight. I know you've been covering that, some matchups, I think. Pike County, Franklin County. What do you see just some of those new emerging teams?
I think baseball in 2A is really interesting. Once again, lose all of those private schools. Lose, most notably, North Cobb Christian, who's won 2 or 3 straight. So, like, Pike County, Appling County, a lot of these schools now are in a situation that they haven't been in where it's like, hey, this classification is really wide open.
100%. And then, obviously, there's a big camp this weekend, Elite 11. I wrote an article on Brooks Goodman, obviously him being one of the standouts there. But can you just talk a little bit just about the camp and just what kind of caught your eye?
When you look at the players, I'll go with Brooks, start with Brooks Goodman. You look at Brooks, and he's one of these guys that has all of this potential. He has an offer from Ole Miss. He has some good offers, but it's putting it together. And on that team, that's a team and that's a coaching staff that really likes to run the ball.
Yes.
But if he can take that next step forward this year, they can go from a team that was one of the state title contenders in 4A to possibly the top team at 4A. Interesting.
And for you, Hayden, what does that kind of look like? Are you looking more for numbers, like maybe 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, over 2,000, 2,500 passing yards? Like, what does that look like for you?
It's not really a numbers thing. It's more so when the time calls, we're willing to put the ball in his hands no matter what and willing to allow him to make the decisions necessary to win the game or lose the game. Okay. It kind of felt like last year they were more so, we're going to keep this thing on the ground, we're going to shorten games, we're going to be more physical than you. But I'm not sure they completely trust him. And if he's as accurate as he was in those drills, you have to trust him. You have to accept that he can be the best quarterback in 4A.
For sure. And then I just want to ask you a little bit about 27s. A lot of guys that were there. Obviously, Brody McWaters is 26, but Teddy Girard, Kareem Hughley, Ben Muser. Just what's your thoughts on that kind of trio as they kind of continue to try to make their name?
I think when you look at the 27 class of quarterbacks compared to the 26 class of quarterbacks, which is not as strong of a class as we've seen in recent years. Brody McWhorter is a really good quarterback, but he's a low 4-star. Darnell Kelly's a good player. He's a 3-star recruit. You look at these players and you're like, they're really guys. 27 class is loaded. Kareem Hughley he is really good. Is already a high-end recruit. Ben Musser is a really, really good quarterback. that I still think needs to grow into being a really good quarterback, but has all the talent in the world. Same thing with Tay Gerard, more of a pocket passer than the other two, but he has the size, he has the arm. Helped North Cobb Christian to, I believe, the semifinals last year. A surprise semifinals. Now he's at just North Cobb, a team that's really been looking for the successor to Malachi Singleton since he left.
Yep.
And then you add to that players like Jace Johnson and just a lot of players, and I really think you look at it and think this quarterback class is going to be generational.
Ooh, quote. I'm going to leave it at that. I was going to tell Craig to get a quote in here, but he said generational. I'm going to leave it right there. All right, guys, that's going to conclude the show for today. Great quote by Hayden. We'll have more tomorrow, so make sure you come back same place, same time, right here on the Peachtree Sports Network.
Hey, is the power off on this?
I don't know. Just take it off. Safety violation, unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at georgiaconstructioncareers.com.
Beginning the morning you opened your eyes, we spent every waking moment preparing you for the day you'd leave our nest. Whether it's driving to practice or helping with homework, it's all prepared you for, what am I going to be when I grow up? Will you be ready?
After much thought, I made my decision to take my talents to the IBEW Local 613.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers is not simply a job, it's a career. Visit IBEW613.org to begin a new future today.
We celebrate the athletes, the buzzer beaters, the record breakers, the wins. Now, it's time to celebrate the people behind it all. The advice givers, the community shapers, the game changers, the life changers. It's time to celebrate our coaches. Join all of us at BSN Sports and show your coach some love by sharing their story with #ThankYouCoach.
Are you interested in becoming a deputy or a jailer? The Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office is hiring and looking for individuals passionate about protecting and serving their community. If you are 18 years or older, join our team by visiting gogcso.com for more information. Gwinnett County, together we can make a difference.